Today we're going to be talking about VA and condos, what you need to know. Now, first of all, there is a myth that the VA has to have already approved the condo, otherwise you cannot buy it as a veteran. That is not correct. So a lot of times I'll hear from people, oh, well, my real estate agent said I can only look at these two properties because they're the only ones VA approved. No, we can always submit, we the lender, a project to VA to see if they will approve it, okay? So a lot of times lenders don't want to do it. So they'll be like, oh, it's horrible, it's hard, it could take forever, the seller's never gonna go for it. It's not horrible, it's a lot of paperwork, okay? It's a lot of paperwork, but guess what? If it's the condo you want, and if we get all the paperwork, and if VA approves the condo after reviewing the paperwork, you should be pretty confident about that condo. So we do VA condo approvals all the time for both new construction and existing construction. So most important thing is just because a condo is not currently VA approved does not mean it can't be. Now let's talk about VA condos that are already approved. If you're buying one of those, you need to understand that VA could have approved it 10 or 15 years ago. Just because they approved it then does not actually mean it's a good purchase for you now. So we are not going to be asking the condo for any documents except for proof of insurance if VA has already approved it. So it is on you, the buyer, to make sure that the condo you're buying is not a money pit. So what are you going to want to look at? You're going to want to look at the budget, make sure there's reserves. So if there's ever a problem like roofs have to be replaced or walls or whatever, they have money. You're going to look at the meeting notes to see if there's any juicy gossip about upcoming problems or what the concerns are. You are going to need to do your due diligence. Very important. I can't stress that enough because a lot of times people are like, well, VA approved it, so it's perfect. It could have approved 20 years ago and things can change. You can have a condo that's great, but then you get bad management in and they spend all the money. You know, there's been condos where money has been embezzled. You need to do your own diligence. I can't stress it enough. I can't stress it enough. Okay, so VA approval. What does the lender actually ask for? So we're going to be getting this from the HOA. If the HOA is super responsive or they have a management company that's super responsive, this is easy. If the HOA or the management company are difficult, it is a nightmare and it does take longer. You know, if we have to do an HOA condo approval for VA, I generally am going to want a 45-day escrow just because I don't know what HOA I'm going to get. I've got to get all of this stuff and then I give it to our condo department at guaranteed rate who reviews it to make sure I have everything, and then it goes to VA. VA, we've seen some condo approvals in 7 days. We've seen some in 14 days. We can't rush a condo approval with VA. And also the amount of documentation they're reviewing on your behalf. Remember guys, this is on your behalf. It's a lot. So let's talk about just some of the items. Declarations of covenants, conditions, and restrictions. Yeah, they want to know if there's a restriction on the property. Bylaws for HOA, plat map, lot survey of project, HOA budget, HOA meeting notes, special assessments, litigation statements, recording documents, recorded annexation document for subject phase. That's if it's new construction. You know, there's a lot of stuff just for new construction in addition. And then also there's a bunch of stuff if applicable. So we may need facility leases, management agreements, service contracts, current financial statements and reserves of project, registrant architect, engineer statement on project condition. There is a lot that we may need, and a lot of it is if applicable. So what can happen sometimes is we get everything we think we need, send it to VA, and then they say, hey, we actually need this and that because they've determined it's applicable. So the key thing is look, as a veteran, if a condo is not VA approved, does it mean you can't buy it? No, it just means the lender's going to have to try to get VA approval. Now, if it's a condo that can't be financed by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, should you be buying it? No. And I just bring that up because there are some condos right now that are unfinanceable by those entities, and people are like, well, what about VA? Guys, if those two are saying no, VA is going to say no. Now, what can happen sometimes is sometimes we'll submit everything to VA and they will not want to approve the whole project, but they'll give the veteran the right to ask for an exemption. An exemption is basically you, the veteran, saying, hey, I understand you're not comfortable with the whole project, but I would like to move forward. I understand the risks. And at that point, I've seen VA approve a couple of these. So you need to understand there's an area of gray. So key things are this: don't be discouraged. If you're looking at a condo, great. If the condo's already VA approved, it does not mean it's perfect. It could have been done 20 years ago. Make sure you do your due diligence. And if it's not approved, the lender's gonna have to go through the approval process. We do it all the time. You're gonna wanna make sure that you're working with a lender that does this a lot, because it is a lot. You know, I was reading that stuff off. I'm not the one that collects it. We literally have a person where that's her job. She knows it inside and out. And that's what you need. You need someone that knows that stuff inside and out, knows that if the HOA says no to this, if you ask for this, that will work. You know, it's really important. So I hope this video was helpful. Questions, comments, as always, reach out. Thanks for watching.